Welcome to Convoso for Salesforce. We're here to talk about the top 5 things that you didn't know that you need to know.
That's a long title. Did you come up with that title?
I did. I'm Heather Seberg, and I'm joined by Daniel Flockett.
Daniel.
So we recently became a Salesforce partner, which is a huge milestone for Convoso. And for companies and contact centers that are using Salesforce as their CRM, Daniel, tell me why this is such a big deal.
It's a game changer. It's super exciting. We are very happy to finally get to the point. Took us a bit to get here, but what's this about? Like Convoso, first of all, for those of you who do not know, it's a company, we've been around 20 years. We are really focusing on providing the best outbound dialing platform for high velocity, high performance outbound call centers or contact centers. So this industry is very revenue focused. It's really important to make money. So that is the most important thing for us. We want to make our customers make a lot of money, drive that growth there. What we do, there's a lot of breadth, a lot of depth in the platform. So I don't want to bore everyone here, but I'm going to talk about 3 main pillars. Number 1, automated campaign management. That's very important in the world of outbound campaigns, right? But at scale. It's easy to do it if you have 5 agents. If you do it with 50 or with 500, it becomes sort of a whole different game. You need to have lots of automation. You need to have a very rich suite of compliance tools, because in this industry, TCPA is such, it is pretty important to not get sued, not get shut down here. Campaign management with lots of next best action to drive to the intended outcomes. In the end, campaigns are having an objective of closing the sale. And you got to do lots of tactical things, just like in military campaigns, right? Tactical small battles in order to get to that outcome, which is win the war, which is in our case, closing that deal here. That's what campaign management is about. Number 2, dialing. We are placing outbound dials at scale for high performance, high velocity environments. That's hard to do that, right? We're talking about hundreds of thousands of calls daily. You need to have the right the right dialing modes, whether that's preview dial, whether that is power dial, predictive dialer, especially predictive dialers becoming really important here. Sub 5 second speed to lead. So within 5 seconds of somebody submitting that form, I want to get a quote for a new kitchen. You want to be talking to that person, because that person is you're competing with other businesses out there here. And that's super granular, what we call classification. Outbound dialing, there's a lot of data happening moving forward that happens between placing a call and connecting to a lead or prospect here. So to being able to have that intelligence to make real-time decisions is a really important part here. And number 3, you all have seen it. You always see those calls yourself. Spam likely, right? It is a pretty frequently occurring thing nowadays. It's a very pervasive problem across the entire industry here. So with our intelligent number management solutions, you get a very robust suite to prevent dialing with spam or scam likely numbers. That's a that giveaway of not making a deal, not closing. Nobody's going to pick up the phone here. So we're putting all these pieces together. We built something really special here over the last 20 years. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so if we like to say it's bringing together the industry's top outbound dialing platform with the industry's #1 CRM, right?
Exactly. And this is really why we are so excited about it. It's been a long time coming, long time making here. So if you take a step back, Salesforce there's no doubt that it's world's #1 CRM. They've been around for what, 25 years. They invented the word software as a service. You remember the logo with
I do.
software, right?
I do.
What is it, like 100,000, 200,000 organizations worldwide using it? It is a pretty big platform here. They've been at the forefront of innovation in this space. They know for, again, 25, 26, 27 years. Mark Benioff, great leader. As long as he's in charge, that company is continuing to be at the forefront here. They built an entire ecosystem, or what they call the Salesforce economy, around this idea of a golden customer record. You gotta have a single source of truth, and you do everything around here. Now, that is world's #1 CRM platform. If you combine that with world's #1 outbound dining platform, which is what we've been doing for 2 decades now, you got something special here. So, um, we know, we're confident about, we know more than any other organization out there how to make high velocity outbound sales teams, revenue teams perform at scale. Again, not for 5 agents or 500 agents within the compliance guardrails. There's very few organizations that can even get close to that here. So if you combine that world #1 CRM with world #1 outbound dining platform, you got something special here, right? And that's really what gets us so excited here. Because the idea of a system of records and everything around it is cool, but if you need to sell in a high velocity environment, you need something like Convoso on top of that. So what we're envisioning here, what we have announced with this new integration is turning the opportunity to turn that system of record into a system of high performance execution. And that is the power of combining Salesforce with Convoso.
Yeah, I love that. So let's get into the product itself and the top 5 things, right, that you didn't know that you needed to know, right? So one of the things, and it's about addressing customer pain points that we hear regularly, right? One of those things, and the most common thing, is about data integrity or the need for data accuracy. It's a huge issue, right? And it's been a problem for years. But why is data integrity, and more specifically, the need to synchronize your data between critical business systems, like, why is that such a big deal, and why is it so hard to do?
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. I actually did a bit of research using my favorite research assistants. Um, Master data management. You remember that term?
I do. MDM.
MDM. It's been a while here. I actually looked up. That concept was invented in the 60s
Yeah,
when the Beatles were touring.
exactly.
That's how
It
old it is. Master data management idea. You got to have a master record. You got to have something of a single source of truth here. It's been around for what's it now, 70 years or so, almost 70 years. Why? Because it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard to do data management. It is so easy to get duplicate data. I have the same information sitting in 2 different databases or redundant data. I updated this, but I didn't update that. I have incomplete data. Part of my record is sitting here, part of my profile is sitting here. 2 different systems. They don't talk to each other. You can see where that goes wrong, right? Outdated data. It's wrong. I moved. I have a different address. I have a different surname. I got married or divorced. Those things are just very pervasive happening all over the world. It's very costly. Gartner estimated recently that it costs on average about 13 million per year
That's rough.
to have poor quality data here. So this is a very, very big issue here. And maybe even more so in the world of outbound call centers because the high velocity piece. Things are moving so fast and the cost of doing it wrong is actually pretty big if you don't have a good source of truth here. Until now, if you're running on Salesforce to have your records and you use a outbound platform like Convoso, what do? You have to create a segment in Salesforce. You have to export it in a CSV file. You have to import it in the platform. You have to start putting campaigns around that. Let's scrub it against the resign number database or doing a call list. Start putting campaigns. You got to start dialing. Once you get pick up, you have an agent starting to have a conversation with those folks. That's all data that's happening, and then you start a conversation. Right? You take notes, bubble up. Oh, I update the status. I look up some information in the backend system here. I have to set a certain disposition. I got to schedule a callback. I got to do all that's all data, right? And how are you ensuring today that that data goes back to your source of truth? If you do not have a seamlessly synchronized system, it's manual. You know what happens when things have to be done manually? Takes a lot of time, first of all, and the time is very expensive, but it's very error prone. Like human beings are the worst data entry people in the world. There's a lot of data errors happening there. So that's a huge problem that we're very excited about that we can now solve because it's seamless. The systems work together. All data flows within less than a second. It is updated in both systems here. And that's a huge problem that we're solving here. Very exciting.
Yeah, because because the way the product work is that when you know, if you're dialing, you conclude a call, you're gonna disposition that call, right? Then normally, like you said, you have to go into you have to update that, and then you have to update it in the CRM. But with Convoso for Salesforce, you don't have to do that because you update it once and it automatically syncs.
Automagically.
Yeah,
Automagically is how we like to call it here. Hey, I
exactly.
got a question for you, Heather. Um, Data is really important, but we should never forget about the human in the loop here, right? There's an agent involved that is actually having those conversations here. Um, there's something pretty special about this integration when it comes from agent experience as well. Can you walk us a bit through why that's important?
Yeah, so we like to say that we offer a seamless agent experience. So what do we mean by that? Okay. It's a big deal. Okay. Because the seamless agent experience and the concept is important because did you know that the average contact center agent has more than 20 tabs or systems open and they have to use those to just complete a single customer interaction, right?
20? 20 even seems on the lower side if you look at my own screen, but yeah.
Well, but get this, Harvard Business Review found that the average knowledge worker switches between apps and business systems nearly 1,200 times a day. Okay. So in an 8-hour shift, what 1,200 times actually means is that they're switching between the agent or between their apps and their browser and back and forth into the systems nearly every minute. So that means an agent's forced to stop what they're doing, search for information, navigate to another system, reorient themselves into a different tool just to do a call, right? It's wild. Like that's way too much. It's massively inefficient. It contributes to agent burnouts and it increases or it causes a decrease in your contact rates, right? Which is a big deal because the whole point of any contact center is that you want to keep your agents in the flow and focused on the task at hand, which is to always be calling, right? Always be closing deals.
ABC.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, yeah, yeah, I love that. This is super important because, like, how many times do for the audience listening here, you talk with someone here, like, 1 second, sir, clackety, 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 clacky, typing, typing, looking. Always hear the swivel chair squeaking as they go and look at a different screen, right? That-
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what you don't want because if you as a lead, take the time to actually have a conversation with someone that's trying to pitch you something, I really want that person to be focused on me.
Oh,
You
it's the
gotta
most
sell it. You gotta sell it. Be closing, ABC, right? Don't go and like, "Oh, let me go and look up some data for you," whatever.
yeah, it's the most annoying thing in the world, and actually, that's one of the other things that we brought into Convoso for Salesforce is something we call agent call scripting, which is exactly that, because we've all been on that other end. We're the consumer where we get the call, or we've actually said, "Okay, I'm gonna pick up the phone because I'm interested in a service," and then you're trying to ask for basic information, and they're saying, "Please hold," or there's dead air, or you hear, like, again, the clackety clack clack, or they have to worse put you on hold while they go find the information. That's a really good way to kill a deal. I don't know about you. I've hung up on a lot of people in that situation, right? Because it's like, it's just not worth my time. So with agent call scripting, which is part of Convoso for Salesforce, it basically surfaces the call scripts that the agents need. So whether it's they need to read like something about compliance, right, or something a TNC, like basically terms and conditions of a service, it's something that can be surfaced right there at the immediate, and they don't have to put you on hold. You don't have to hear the clickety clack. It kind of ends the whole entire idea of these what we call those swivel chair shenanigans. You can see me like I'm swiveling here. No more of that, right? So it's the seamless agent experience is about the fact that it helps agents improve their contact rates because it's always keeping them in the flow. And the agent call scripting is another important piece because it keeps them having a natural conversation because you want
And by the way, also it keeps them compliant because you may have mandatory disclosures, especially in
exactly.
California, become very important. But also it allows you for the data synchronization piece, collect that as part of the script and have it synchronized automatically to your backend system here. So there's
Yeah.
the data integrity, right?
Yeah, exactly. This having a seamless agent experience is important because it feeds into, like you said, the data synchronization piece and the data integrity piece, which you've already talked about is a huge problem, right? Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, so Convoso is also all about increasing contact rates, right? So how do we do that for the people that don't know?
It's the name of the game. In the world of outbound, maintaining your contact rate high is everything.
Mhm.
What is contact rate? In the world of outbound dialing, only a percentage of the calls you place are being picked up. Most of the calls go to voicemail boxes. Most now iOS call screening, Android call screening. There's
Yeah.
some weird things happening with the carriers as well. It's hard. You get
Mhm.
like, if you're lucky, if you're really good job, maybe 20%. That's a high contact rate, right? Most of outbound operations are hovering in the single digit percentage points here. So any change can directly turn into a huge benefit here. So it leads to a good contact rate leads to higher agent occupancy. Like the last thing you want is having agents sit and wait for calls to connect.
Oh.
You're
Oh,
paying
yeah.
your salaries, right? And no, they gotta be always be closing. They gotta be
Right.
always be calling on the phone, right? So it leads to um, a lower CPA, your cost per acquisition, which is one of the most important ROI metrics used in the revenue, right? You buy often leads or generate leads, so that has a cost. But it's
Yeah.
also technology cost, it's also agent cost, and all the picks together leads to a certain cost, a CPA. It lowers your CPA if you do have a good high contact rate. It leads to high conversion rate. That's basic math. The more calls you actually connect, a certain percentage of that actually converts, right?
Exactly.
Convoso over the last 20 years has spent every day everything we can do, fine tuning what we can affect, what we can change to drive a higher contact rate. So this is our raison d'etre. This is what we do to help our customers make more money. I mentioned the three pillars earlier, right? Automatic campaign management, the dialing capabilities, and intelligent number management. Those are not something that we came up here. These had to work very tightly together in concert, very well tuned into each other, because the combination of that is what is that secret magic sauce, if you want, that gets you the high contact rate. It is how you set up your campaigns. It's how you
Mhm.
set up your reattempts, your follow on. How do you prioritize? Some leads are worth more than others. Some are
Exactly.
hot. Some are lost. You gotta, again, less than 5 seconds after that lead submits the form, shopping around for a new mortgage package, you want to have that phone ring, right? It is the sequencing. It's rare you hit your lead or your prospect in the first attempt. You got to do it over a series, and there's different strategies you can do. You want to make sure you don't amateur hour. I see somebody call me at the top of the hour exactly. Well, like that's a dead giveaway. Like who's disciplined enough to actually call me exactly at 10 o'clock in the morning? Small things like that will all help to drive better outcomes here. It's about you're dealing with a lot of leads, hundreds of thousands of leads. They go from hot to maybe week old, then a month old, and some businesses then discard them. Others say, "Well, try another half a year." Others will keep apply different strategies. That's a lot of manual work if you got to change the status on each of them. So you need very sophisticated workflow automation capabilities there. Um, how you route, how do you connect between your agent and the actual lead in zip code, in area code, yada yada, on this particular carrier,
Exactly.
hopping between all different. That's all real time data, AI that you all got to use, and of course the flag numbers. Like if you want to make sure you're not dialing with flag numbers, that's the worst way to make money here. So if you combine all these pieces together, you have something that's pretty deep, pretty broad. A lot of, again, 20-year fine tuning here, but very, very powerful. That's why we firmly believe we are the number one platform. The one thing we do not do is the CRM piece. That's why we want to work with our friendly friends at the Salesforce side of the house, so that we can offer that combined value to our customer.
Yeah, exactly. And based on what you're just saying, I mean, it's very true. Like we as we live and breathe, we spend all our time trying to make this product the best that it can be for the contact centers. And then the fact that we've now introduced this integration with Salesforce, right? And done all the things. But it kind of brings me back to my point because when you join the Convoso family, if you will, as a customer, we are known, I think, within the industry. And we hear this a lot from customers that are coming from those legacy CCaaS dialers and the basic dialers that they're kind of blown away by the amount of and the level of white glove treatment that we provide. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and why it's so good?
pure love, pure love, pure
Exactly.
love of customers. No pun pun aside, but it's true. Like if you are many of our larger customers come off the Genesis, is the five nines, Talkdesk, or some of the other things. Like they're blown away. First of all, with the speed, time to value is amazing. We get
Mhm.
you up and running in weeks, right? And I've heard horror stories of like 6, 7, sometimes 8 or 9 months of implementation time. That shouldn't take too long. We
You
know
said
this industry is about
right.
making money. And you got to be up and running as soon as possible because ABC always
A
be
big
yeah.
closing. Yeah.
So a great, we do that because we really invest in a very highly skilled implementation team. We do a
Mhm.
lot of white glove hand holding, if you want, with a customer success team. We invest a lot of time in making sure that our customers are successful. Our support team is the best. It's actually award winning,
It is.
which is kind of amazing. We have an amazing support team. There's a reality that if you have been working on a platform for 20 years, it becomes very sophisticated. But it's not something you can just turn on and start dialing. There's all your KYC, there's all
Mhm.
the configuration piece here, but we have a really well-tuned process here, a great team that helps you implement this within weeks, get up and running, fine-tune over time with our success management team, have a great support organization. And that's really what sets us apart from the industry. Like few organizations can afford to offer. And for us, it's a deliberate strategy that we really want to make sure that our customers are successful. And I still vividly remember this one customer saying like, dude, when I switched over you, I'm not going to name the other big CCaaS player that we frequently compete with.
Yeah.
It felt like we were just a very small
Mm.
fish in a very big pond, and with you guys, you actually care about us and are making us successful here. So that is a really important part of our value proposition for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a long-term relationship that we, are in with every customer, right? It's not just, you sign the deal, we get you live, and then you're now an afterthought, right? We don't treat people like that, which is pretty cool. I think we've actually covered the 5 things that you did not know that you need to know, but I'm gonna recap that because we believe that they will tremendously help your business, and it's related to Convoso for Salesforce. So again, it's combining the world's, number 1 CRM with the industry leading outbound dialing platform, Convoso. It's all about the fact that Convoso for Salesforce brings the data integrity, solves for that data accuracy issue with the data synchronization between the systems. It's all about that seamless agent experience, whether it's around the agent call scripting and the end to the swivel chair shenanigans, right? We talked about that. And then also known, Convoso is known to drive the increased contact rates, which is number 4. And last but not least, the fact that we offer white glove implementation and customer support for the long-term relationship that you're here with us. Correct.
5.
Number 5, not
I
to
know.
forget.
So now, listen, now you know the 5 things that you did not know, but you now need to, and you
That
actually do know because we just walked you through it.
exactly. And if you're interested, hit us up because we'd be happy to show you a demo, and we can promise that you will be happy with what you see.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Until next time.